Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. And for those of you who are new here, hello, how are you? Well, I want to talk to you about one of the most fascinating hidden backstories of any character probably ever created. What was really going on in this character's mind behind the scenes? Well, let's find out and dive into the hidden story of Quint. Many of you grew up with Jaws, know the movie front to back and left to right, but have you really thought about what was going on deep down in the subconscious of the most renowned shark hunter? First, let's dive into what he tells us in his most iconic monologue. Brought to you by someone who is drunker than I've ever been in my entire life, Robert Shaw as Quint. Retold by me to avoid copyright issues, and I just read a very small portion of it. I'll never put on a life jacket again. So, 1,100 men went into the water, 316 men come out. The sharks took the rest. June the 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb. Of course, that was a very not the way that it's told in the movie, but for that sake, I just had to tell you kind of a little bit of pieces of the monologue. I will link some videos down, the whole clip is there. There's so much to unpack about Quint from just this story alone. But what does it have to do with the rest of the movie? Why was this moment so important to the events of the film? It's not obvious, and some of it may even be applying too much to little moments in the film. For example, something I find fascinating is the moment where, once he knows the boat will probably go overboard, he chooses to get life vests. Where after pausing for a second, in a kind of unimportant moment, he throws Hooper and Brody a life vest. And if you are paying attention to it, you might not notice, but he isn't wearing one, which I really do think puts a lot of emphasis onto what he said about not ever wearing a life jacket ever again. So, in that monologue, if you don't know what he's referencing, Quint is a member of the USS Indianapolis, which is a real-life event that did occur. To summarize, this boat was delivering the nuclear bomb, not like dropping the bomb, but delivering the bomb to the people that would drop the nuclear bomb, and they were doing so in complete secrecy, which allowed them to drop the bomb in secret as well. Well, as they were coming home, Japanese torpedoes hit the side of their boat, and within 12 minutes, the entire boat sank. For days, 1,100 men were plunged into the water and left to survive. Unfortunately, sharks began to circle them, and with dehydration, starvation, sun issues, and sharks, only 316 men would survive the ordeal. According to this movie, Quint was a surviving member of the Indianapolis. We find out that he was because as they were comparing scars and other things, we find out that Quint had a tattoo of the USS Indianapolis on his left arm that he had once had removed. To me, this makes me think that Quint had never really fully recovered from that accident, and that's why he's a shark hunter today. And that's why he hunts sharks, to almost get back at them in a weird way. And that is something I think is really important to keep in your mind as you look at the way that his psyche becomes more maniacal as the shark just keeps evading every maneuver that he does. It's almost as if the fact that the shark is not easy to catch is not hurting Quint on a professional level, but also on a personal level. For Quint, killing sharks isn't a professional job, it's revenge. Revenge for his fallen comrades, and revenge for all the trauma that Quint has felt all these years. And because he ran the engine overboard in a blind fit of rage or carelessness or whatever it may be, he ends up dying in the same fate as many of the other members of the USS Indianapolis, and maybe that is exactly the way Quint would have wanted it. Of course, we are speaking of a fictional character. This isn't to put down or exaggerate or ignore the reality of the terrible situation that happened, but I think there is much of Quint's story that is ingrained in his backstory of being a member of the USS Indianapolis. And I really think most people don't ever really think about that. Well, that is it. Did you enjoy? Do you have another movie that you want me to cover to unlock a secret, hidden, lost story? Let me know in the comments down below, and check me out on all the socials. It's Media by Company on Instagram and Me by Co on TikTok. Patreon is in the link below. All podcasts on the Me by Podcast Network, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.